Harry F. Powers, born November 17th, 1892, death March 18th, 1932. Cause of death, he was hanged in Moundsville, West Virginia. Victims, a total of 5 proven, 2 not proven, suspected of over 50.
Harry F. Powers was a Dutch-born American serial killer. He was known as the Bluebeard of Quietdale, or more popularly as the Lonely Hearts Killer.
So, in 1927, he actually married his wife, Luella Strother, by actually answering a Lonely Heart ad. So, you might ask yourself, what is a Lonely Heart ad? A Lonely Heart ad is a personal advertisement, sometimes called a contact ad. It's a form of classified advertising in which a person seeks to find another person for friendship, romance, marriage, or sexual activity. In British English, it is commonly known as an advert in a Lonely Hearts ad column. So, essentially, in modern day, it's more like, the strange... Yeah, Tinder, Reddit, what is the other ones? Christian Mingle, I guess. Craigslist, Strange Encounters. So, you're kind of wondering why, actually, we are missing one of our members. What happened is Hunter actually answered a Lonely Hearts ad, and we ain't seen him since. We ain't heard from him. So,
know.
We'll reach out to him for that.
Hopefully we hear from him soon. Otherwise, we're going to have to contact local authorities.
Yeah, absolutely. We thought he was abducted by aliens, but that wouldn't happen. Anyways, back into episode 1 of True Crime from the Basement, The Lonely Hearts Killer. So, we told you he was actually married in 1927 to Luella Strother. And even though he was married, he started putting out his Lonely Heart ads in the newspaper. Do you know this guy was getting 10 to 20 letters a day by his Lonely Heart ads?
That's an insane amount.
And I know... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, some people, man, even with social media, you don't get that much response.
Yeah, and I know some people that don't even get a response back.
Jeez.
But anyways, Harry later constructed a basement and a garage at his own home, which will later turn out to be the crime scene in a quiet town called, obviously enough, Quietdale, West Virginia. Harry was arrested in 1921 in Barron County, Wisconsin, for burglary. Although he was never convicted, he was also suspected in the disappearance of Dudley C. Wade, who was a carpet sweeper salesman, and the unsolved murder of Jane Doe. I'm assuming they never found her identity, but right. Jane Doe.
And he just killed the vacuum man.
Yeah, killed the vacuum man. He just trying to sell a carpet sweeper for probably $20 back then. They got killed. But that was in Morris, Illinois. Illinois, however you want to say it. So some of the murders that we actually have convictions of is 5 convictions. So Drew, you want to dig into a couple of them, or I got some posts here.
So his undoing began in 1931 when authorities started to investigate the disappearance of several women and children. And his probably most ruthless set of victims was Asta Eicher and her 3 children. Mm-hmm. So she was a widow, and her children traveled from Park Ridge, Illinois, to meet Powers, who used the alias Cornelius Pearson.
Yep.
Powers eventually murdered Eicher and her children, Greta, who was 14, Harry, who was 12, and Annabelle, who was 9. And he did all that in his murder garage on his property.
Yeah, let's go back to his alias he used. He used Cornelius Orvin Pearson. If that doesn't give you chills just hearing that name, that sounds like a serial killer's name.
For real. Yeah.
Like, you spoke about that one murder. Let me go ahead and get to my notes here real quick. Of course, we took some notes here. So, go ahead, Drew. Real quick.
Asta Eicher.
Yeah, Asta Eicher. How he done this is her children and Dorothy were uncovered. Evidence and autopsy reports that showed that the 2 girls and their mother had been strangled while the young boy's head was beaten in the head with a hammer. There's pretty brutal murders that he was doing actually in his garage that he was later convicted of.
Now, Dorothy was a separate victim. She had no relation to this family.
That's a separate victim. I'm sorry.
So Dorothy Lemke was a widow from Massachusetts who answered his Lonely Hearts ad, and he lured her to Quietdale, West Virginia, only for her to meet her demise once she arrived.
Absolutely.
So what he did was he would lure them in, of course, with the hope of finding marriage, love, hookup, whatever you call it back then. And then he would steal their money and just kill them.
Yeah. Back to Dorothy. Dorothy, was it Lemke?
Lemke.
She was from Northborough, Massachusetts, who was also looking through love through Lonely Hearts ad or sale advertisements. He brought her to Iowa to marry her and persuaded her to withdraw $4,000 from her bank account. And of course, she did.
Think about how much $4,000 was back then.
Oh, absolutely. Back in, that was when the Great Depression was going on too.
Yeah.
So how she had $4,000 during the Great Depression, I don't know.
Watch, I'm gonna hit him with the calculator right here on the podcast. Let's see here. Go ahead, keep talking.
But while he's talking about that, she got that money out, but she also noticed that he never sent her trunks, I guess her briefcases, to Iowa. That's where Powers was claiming to be living. He sent them to the address of Cornelius O. Pearson of Fairmont, West Virginia, which was Asta Eichler and her children.
All right, timeout. So in 1931, $4,000 would be the equivalent of $85,000 today.
Wow. Who just has $85,000? I mean, obviously you could tell by our studio we're not capable of that. But yeah, that's crazy amount that we got going on there. So let's speak of the Eichner lady again and her children. So we begin with Pearson, who was discovered empty in Eichner's house. They found love letters, which led them to Quietdale, where Pearson lived under the name Harry Powers with his wife. Powers was arrested in his house in Quietdale and was searched. Police found the crime scene in 4 rooms located under Pearson's garage. Bloody clothing, hair, and a burned bank book and a small bloody footprint of a child was discovered.
Wow.
Imagine. So one of those children, probably the boy, survived being hit with the hammer and was trying to run away. Is what we're gathering here. Mm-hmm. And obviously he didn't survive. He probably chased him down and took care of
the job, yeah.
Yeah. So citizens, when he was arrested, I got ahead of myself there. Citizens of the town began to arrive at the scene to watch the investigation unfold. A 15-year-old bystander informed the sheriff that he had recently helped Powers dig a ditch on his property.
Wow.
That's, the freshly filled-in ditch was then dug up, and that's where the bodies of, let me turn to my next page here.
Asta Eicher, her children, and Dorothy Lemke were found in that shallow grave.
Yes, they were.
And they actually discovered that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you said it from the tip from a teenage boy.
Yeah, the 15-year-old boy that helped him dig the ditch.
Yeah.
Actually was the one that actually turned it over to him and said, hey, this is where it's buried at, which is really smart for a 15-year-old kid to remember that and be able to tell authorities that. So we got to hand it off to a 15-year-old kid, to be able to actually recognize that, hey, obviously you're looking for bodies. This is probably where it's at. Now, did he have anything to do with the murders or hiding the bodies? That was never said. We don't know if maybe a guilty conscience or maybe he was just simply digging a ditch. We don't know.
Yeah, I do. And this is just, of course, my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There was no evidence that ever suggested that he had an accomplice.
So, Moundsville, West Virginia, where he was hanged at. Is that where West Virginia State Penitentiary was at?
Yeah.
So he was executed at the West Virginia State Penitentiary, which is why we chose this true crime story. Because, obviously we're based out of West Virginia, as you can see by this and that right there. So we're based in West Virginia, so this is why we wanted to choose this true crime story. And I will go ahead and tell you straight off the bat, a true crime podcast is extremely hard. That's why we're referring to our notes. We don't want to give you any type of bad facts or anything like that. So one thing that actually happened that I want to touch on, we're going to talk about the trial, the execution, and then a little bit of the jail time he was in. So shortly following his arrest, Powers received 2 black eyes and bruising, allegedly from falling down a staircase during his questioning.
Yeah, we all know how that happened.
I'm not going to talk about any of my professional life, but I can go ahead and tell you that he didn't receive those black eyes and bruising from falling. That probably was jail justice for, being a serial killer. You killed women, you killed children. That's what I would imagine would happen. And that's purely speculation. He could have fell, or he may have slipped down the stairs.
Or other inmates could have trapped him in the shower, beat the brakes off of him.
So
you never know.
This is why I'm going to say that. Is during his questioning on September 20th, 1931, a lynch mob attempted to take Powers from the jail, but they was dispersed by fire hoses and tear gas.
Should have probably just let him do it.
I mean, he was going to get executed anyways.
Yeah.
So, but That was before he was found guilty, and that's everybody's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, speaking of him being proven guilty,
Mm-hmm.
the trial, due to the gruesome nature of the crime and it being, 1931,
Yeah.
it grew such immense public attention that they had to move the trial from Clarksburg, West Virginia, to the Moore Opera House to accommodate the crowds coming to the trial.
I did read that. That is very true. With that also, have you ever been exposed to tear gas?
No.
If I was in a crowd and got exposed to tear gas, because I've been exposed to tear gas before, as soon as they crack that can, your boy's leaving. I stood over top of a can, and it instantly feels like you have sandpaper going down your throat, your eyes swell up, I'm not going to say crying, but tears come out, your nose starts to run profusely. And if you're like me, I got a weak stomach, so as soon as my nose started running, it caused me to puke as well. I look like a big old sissy in that line, but that's what happened. But Powers was then moved to the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville, which answered my question before, because we'd done an episode of actual West Virginia State Penitentiary, and I'm like, wait a minute, Moundsville sounds familiar. So yeah, that was on me. But Powers had a 5-day trial and was held at a local opera house, like Drew said, because of the large number of spectators. Just imagine that. An opera house back then.
Oh, that was the place to be.
That was probably massive
Oh, yeah.
place for a court case. So you know it garnered attention because let's just be real. In the 1930s, West Virginia, what else is going on besides coal mining and moonshine running?
And like you said, you're coming off that's in the middle of the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so what else is going on? And would have been Prohibition, maybe? Around that time?
Yeah, in the 20s, yeah.
Yeah, so it'd been, I don't know. Don't fact check me on the
us.
date. That is our catchphrase. Don't fact check us. But, however, we do want to stay close to this. So, numerous witnesses testified to the evidence in Powers' home. So, numerous witnesses. So, are they saying they witnessed the murders? Or are they saying they just witnessed the bodies? Did they witness the bloody footprint? What all did they witness?
I'm thinking, from what I read, that they witnessed him with these different women that responded to these ads.
Ah, got you.
And let me ask you this, while we're on the witnesses, I can't help but to feel like his wife was in on this.
Yeah, how would she not know? But then again, I mean, you have that type of infidelity going on every day, and you know,
I mean,
the
that's
partner
true.
don't know.
That's true, but also you got to think about, back then the only correspondence you had really was the mail.
Was the mail?
And so what kept her from ever getting any of the mail?
Yeah, he was getting 10 to 20 letters a day.
Yeah, so the mailman's always there.
So she had to. Well, I'm not going to speculate, but obviously she had to know something was up with the amount of letters and everything that was coming in.
And I mean, they're from different women. I mean, and again, he's a murderer, so he could have been a domestic abuser.
Well, he's
who knows?
Dealing with murders that I've talked to throughout my life. Not saying I talked to a lot of them, but they're what is it called? Manipulators.
Oh yeah.
So he probably manipulated her. I mean, that's another thing is obviously he's a good manipulator. He created his own fake identity, told him he lived in other states, but lured him to West Virginia. So if you say you're trying to get somebody to come to you to Iowa, like you said, why would they not question him being in West Virginia? Or did they not know that it was in West Virginia?
Who knows, man?
Who
There probably
knows?
wasn't very many welcome to whatever state signs back then.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Maybe he just brought him there and said, hey, this is my vacation home. I don't know.
I mean, the man was probably wealthy. I mean, the one lady gave him $85,000, the equivalent of.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously he had a little bit of money at that time. So maybe that's what he was doing. So, they actually it says right here they had been with victims and picked up their luggage. So you actually had witnesses that picked up these individuals' luggage and delivered it to the house.
They saw him with these people that he lured.
Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously, serial killers are, am I using the right word here, psychopaths?
Yeah, it's
Or
like
sociopaths?
Both.
So they're going to get people from different areas. They're not going to take people from right there in their area, somebody like him, because then they're like, hey, Bertha left 2 days ago. We ain't seen her since.
Yeah, right.
She's coming all the way from Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
No, by the time the word gets to West Virginia that she's missing, man, Don't nobody know where she's at.
Well, you got to think, you didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
You had telephones, but who knows in West Virginia if they had a telephone lines.
Well, I mean,
And this house, I've never even heard of Quietdale. I don't even know.
I think it's in the Clarksburg area. So I mean, Clarksburg is a bigger town.
Actually, yeah, Quietdale is a suburb of Clarksburg. I think I read that somewhere.
Well, I mean, they had this trial started in Clarksburg, so I'm just assuming same county.
Yeah, it would have to be. And was Clarksburg a big town back then?
Yeah.
It is now.
Yeah, it was. It was one of the. I'm fairly certain it was one of the pretty good sized earlier settlements in West Virginia.
Oh, there you go.
Because back then there was some industry booming up that way.
Hey, speaking of murders in Clarksburg, do you remember when we played Clarksburg Notre Dame? Or we didn't play. It was before us.
Yeah.
They come down here and obliterated our football team.
Yeah,
So
buddy.
man, there's a lot of bad stuff going on from Clarksburg.
Yeah, buddy.
No, I'm just playing. I've been to Clarksburg several times. It's a beautiful city. But Powers was also testified himself. It doesn't really go in. Do you have any information on when he testified himself?
It really doesn't. Man, it really doesn't go into detail on him trying to
Defend himself.
Yeah, and also that's another sign of a sociopath. I'm gonna get jumped on by using the wrong terms. I think it's a sociopath that what they pretty much believe that they do no wrong and they can convince everybody else that they're telling the truth. Ain't that one of the traits?
Well, you also got a trait of victim blaming as well. And I'm not saying he did this, but what victim blaming is where you blame the victim, or more like if that person wasn't doing this, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So you have that as well, but I'm not saying that's what he did. But that's definitely something that could have happened.
I mean, this guy obviously was a career criminal.
Yeah, well, let's also talk about because he goes arrested for burglary.
So these murders are based on theft of money.
Yeah, theft of money.
He wanted no relationship with them. He wanted their money, and the only way that he could convince them and let them keep the money and him keep his normal life was to get rid of them.
Exactly. Not only that, let's talk about the mental health. We're still learning about mental health today.
Oh, yeah.
And, with that being said, who say he wasn't schizophrenic? He wasn't bipolar. He wasn't had anxiety. He wasn't, had, what is it called? Borderline personality disorder. Because a lot of your people that are convicted of these have borderline personality or schizophrenia. Maybe he was hearing stuff telling him to do this. We don't know.
Well, I mean, you look at a lot of serial killer documentaries. Like the one guy that Geraldo interviewed, and he's like, the voices tell me to do it.
Yeah.
And that dude he straight up told him, he was like, if you let me out of here, I'll kill you right now.
Yeah.
And he was going to, I mean, I'm getting way off topic, but that's what you're saying is that they have these disorders, and back then, all they would have done was been throw you in the Trans-Allegheny.
And gave you an ice pick lobotomy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, let's even touch on that. Son of Sam, he just thought the neighbor's dog was telling him to kill people.
Yeah, man.
So who knows
what
was going on in his mind? And I'm not taking up for him because, he is a serial killer. Obviously,
He's a terrible human.
He needed exactly what happened to him, and I'm just, it is what it is on that. But, he was also, like I said earlier in the episode, he was suspected of already killing 2 people. Yeah. So that's probably why he used a different alias.
Well, right there in that, yeah, true. He used that different alias because he was already suspected of taking out the vacuum guy.
Yeah.
And then somebody else over in Wisconsin, wasn't it?
Yeah. Nope. Wisconsin?
Or Nebraska, one of them states out there. But either way.
Flyover states.
But when they found his mass grave.
Illinois, by the way.
Okay.
Illinois.
There was Asta, her 3 children, and there was 5 bodies in that one grave.
Yeah. And they said, back again, he suspected of 50 victims. Or over 50 victims.
So I found a small article on that. Mm-hmm. They have went back and restudied this case and looked at missing persons reports from all around. And a lot of those missing persons report, the last known sighting, they were headed off to meet up with somebody. A lot of people suspect that it was him because he was an active serial killer at the time.
Absolutely. And, they say in your life you pass by at least, 1 to 5 murders in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And, that's scary to think about, but it is a reality, and then it is what it is.
and not to credit serial killers by any means, but a lot of serial killers are very intelligent people.
Very intelligent.
They can mind trick you into thinking that they're a good person. Like they're like you said, they're manipulators.
Manipulators. What was that? Okay, that's a different topic we'll dig into later before I test into that. So on December 12th, of 1931, he was sentenced to death in prison, which West Virginia had the death penalty back then. And he was actually hanged on March 18th, 1932 at the West Virginia State Penitentiary. So let's just see. He was sentenced in December, and they hung him, 3 months later, more or less?
Yeah, they didn't waste no time.
They didn't waste no time with him. Whereas now people sit on death row for 20, 30, 40 years. So obviously the witnesses that testified had overwhelmingly strong,
And let's be honest, I'm sure back then they probably didn't call the governor's office before they did the execution.
Yeah, I'd imagine not. I'm glad you saved me. I was over here stuttering and struggling.
I mean, I'm just saying, like you said, nowadays you get inmates on death row and they're there for, some of them just die sitting in prison.
Yeah, most states don't even have the death penalty anymore.
Yeah. So and then when it is time for the execution,
they got appeals.
They got to call the governor's office, make sure there's no stay of execution, make sure they can do it, and they keep that phone there just in case something happens right up to the last seconds.
So overall, Harry F. Powers was obviously a manipulator, a psychopath, and like Drew said, more likely a sociopath. And he was able to trick people into thinking he was somebody else. He was probably able to trick his wife into thinking these were business associates or something. That's just speculation. So that is Henry F. Powers, the Lonely Hearts Killer. And like we said, Lonely Hearts was the ads he was putting in the classified part of the newspaper. And do they still do stuff like that in the newspaper?
I don't know. I don't read newspapers.
I don't get a newspaper. I would imagine there is some form of that now. Like we said, social media now.
Yeah, I'm sure social media is the lion's share of it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that there's probably still some areas. Because, let's be honest, not everybody uses social media.
Absolutely.
But, for the time that this happened, in the early 30s, this man built a murder garage.
And a basement.
And fixed his basement up as like a torture area. Mm-hmm. Who knows how, they described how he killed the one people, but who knows how he killed the other ones. Probably strangulation, probably different.
Strangulation is usually the go-to.
Yeah.
He beat the boy with a hammer.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine there was a struggle. Man, probably not so much with a little boy. But there was that bloody footprint.
Yeah, and it also could have been that he prefers strangulation on women because it's more intimate.
Well, a lot of times, that and it's a power situation. He can see the life being sucked out of the victim, and it gives him that power. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of your murder victims say they lacked power in their personal life, and that's how they got power. Was they got power over somebody to see somebody lose their life in front of them, and they were the one being able to take that life from them.
Yep.
So I feel like that was a really good true crime episode. It was very fact-driven.
One more side note.
Go ahead, Drew.
After they did capture him, they found an entire stash of letters.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Yeah. So that's also part of why they think and why they went back and looked into missing people from, around.
Around, yeah, because it was Massachusetts, Illinois, Iowa.
Yeah, and
it wasn't West Virginia residents, more or less. It was people that didn't know him, didn't know the area, And
they had some leads because they had names of who sent these letters.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then they could find out, of course, from the return address, I'm sure, where they were from, and then they could just go back and say, "Hey, is this person missing? Is this person?" Yeah. And so they never recovered the remains, but
that doesn't say anything. The dude obviously was moving around a lot.
Yeah.
Had a burp there. I'm sorry, but with that, if there was 10 to 20 letters and he suspected of 50 victims, 10 to 20 letters a day. Let's just say 10 letters a day. There's 365 days. That's a lot of daggone letters.
Yeah.
And that could be victims because you never know who answered, who came.
Yeah. And who knows? He could have been talking back and forth to these people before that he actually set up the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
They just brought their savings with them from the bank that the town they were from because they were going to live happily ever after in Quietdale, West Virginia with the Lonely Hearts Killer.
Never
and,
knew.
And they never made it past the trail they met up on because he just killed them and dumped them in the woods.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows what happened there? But that was True Crime, Episode 1, The Lonely Hearts Killer. We hope you guys enjoyed it. This was our first little stab at actual true crime. If you guys like it, let us know in the comments. Like it, share it. Let us know what other stories you want to. We're not going to exclusively stay in West Virginia. We just wanted to start in West Virginia. So with that being said, that was top level content from the lower level. It's the basement.